going on, VC? Joakim here. Hope everybody enjoy their weekend. As I mentioned on my previous video, today I'm going to share with you guys the tiny little bit that I know about Swedish punk. I hope I'm going to try to wrap it up this quick. I've been having trouble with the storage on my phone, and I am not the most tech savvy person. So apologies to the Swedes out there. I do not understand Swedish at all, so my perception of these bands are mostly exclusively based on their musicality, not their lyricism. But nevertheless, I think Sweden, it is indeed, or the Swedish punk scene, it is indeed one of the most important worldwide. Everybody can agree that Swedish is probably the motherland of D-beat and crust punk. I know some of you do not like those labels. I'm not very, into labels as well, but there's no better way to describe some of these bands than just referring to those well-established labels dash subgenres. So this is not a video about D-beat. This is not a video about crust. This is about some of my favorite Swedish bands, and of course it's limited to what I do have on vinyl. I am not showing bands such as Svartparad, Head Cleaners. I had to leave a lot of D-beat bands out because there's already plenty here. One of my favorite bands is Gangs, but I only have it on cassette, so I'm not showing Gangs as well. Neither Filthy Christians, which are a band that I also have on cassette. This cassette was not the first time that I became familiar with Swedish punk, but it was a cassette that back then did open things up for me. Anyways, let's start this. Let's start with legends, godfathers, pioneers of the well-known D-beat. So D-beat stands for the drumming style of the band, this UK band Discharge, but I think it's more than that. I think it's what you know, a D-beat is heavily influenced by the Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing Discharge era. It's just fast, anti-establishment, hardcore, and one thing that indeed characterizes the Swedish scene is that it's raw, it's fast, it's angry. Anyways, pioneers, legendary, anti-Semics. I'm showing this box set because this is a heck of a deal. This came out maybe 5 years ago on Aggie Punk. You still can buy these for like $50, and you do get first 3 singles plus a live single and a wonderful booklet with it, so it's a heck of a deal. Anti-Semics. I'm a sucker for 70s and 80s punk, and I do appreciate the most embryonic stage of some bands. So I don't think at these records they already accomplished what they became known for, through the self-titled mini LP to the Absolute Country of Sweden LP. But this, it's how they paved their way to get where they are, legends within hardcore D-beat fans. So Anarchist Attack EP, this was self-released, came out in 82, 83, this classic here, 84, Victims of Bomb Raid. So throughout these 3, you will hear, the increased approach to that Discharge influenced sound. Fantastic. Plus also comes with this Having Fun in Sweden in 92 live EP. Anti-Semics, Everybody should know them. Another band that we need to mention here is Shit Lickers from Gothenburg, as Anti-Semics are, both from '81. This is also self-released. Swedish punk scene, very DIY, anti-establishment approach. They had a status quo against status quo stance. Great. This is Cracked Cup Skulls. This is the third issue with the different cover art. Cracked Cup Skulls stands for Spraktakas Nutskalar, which is probably the most covered Swedish punk song worldwide. This is a classic, and I'm showing Shit Lickers because what's his name? Thomas Johnson. He left the band. He joined Anti-Semics. He later on in the 90s formed the band Wolf Pack to become Wolf Brigade. Also legendary status to Thomas Johnson work within the Swedish punk scene and all the bands he has been involved with. Still staying on that Discharge influenced hardcore, I'm going to show two of my favorite singles. This is Disarm from Gothenburg as well, from 1984. This is Regneringens Toda Amoro, the first single, and this is Dom, the second single. Both nasty bass lines, super tight band. This is fantastic. This is over the top excellent. Like they elevated a notch here. The quality of the sound is just fantastic. Top 5 for me. Fantastic. Now let's shift away from the D-beat a little bit and let's go back to Stockholm, 1977. Probably the most well-known punk band in Sweden. This came out 1979 on Mistlun Records. Absolute classic. This is 77 punk style record. Pogo-ish at times. It is a classic. It rivals with any classic 1977 punk classic record. ABBA. We're only in it for the drugs. This is a banger. I assume most of you are familiar with this. If you're not familiar with this, check it out. Check the song Folk Beats. Not the best, but that song alone will be a make it or break it deal for you if you're not familiar with ABBA. Classic. A band from 1980 from Hudiksvall. They just blended the best of both worlds. 77 punk, early hardcore, or D-beat as you want to call it. Missbrukarna compilation came out 2012. This is fantastic. He has like their first release, which was a cassette. He has the single. Sounds amazing. Play this record. Sometimes you feel like you're listening to multiple bands because the quality of the sound shifts, but also their approach shifts. Sometimes more on the 77 side, sometimes more on the hardcore side. This is a banger, super cheap record. My local store has this record sitting there for $5. It's been there for like a year. Amazing, classic. This came out on Skramel, which might be a German label, I'm not sure. From Ernora, from the early 80s, absolute classic. Social. Religion Sucks. This is the title of their first 7-inch, which came out in 1986. This is a compilation of Radiation Records from 2016. He has also that, of course, Religion Sucks 7. It does have tracks from compilations, including tracks from the legendary Really Fast compilations, which are an excellent start to get into, Swedish hardcore. Social, amazing. Now, Stockholm, 1982. The fastest band in the business. This is Mob 47. This is a compilation on Distortion Records, also a well-known label. This is from mid to late 90s. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And Mob 47 is kind of like the Discharge influenced punk meeting early US hardcore. If you're familiar with the Neos, you can encounter that here. However, they're way tighter a tighter band than the Neos. Like they do not sound like everything's going to fall apart. It's tight, classic. Mob 47, amazing, absolute classic. Now I'm gonna show a single for the Kill by Dead fans, short-lived band from 1977. This is a banger. Reclamation. This is fantastic. 77, punkish with a punch and a bounce. This is amazing. And the quality of the sound, this record, considering the time, this is fantastic. Money in the Bank. You listen to this record, you'll be hooked, guaranteed. One of the best Swedish singles of all time. Punk. Another classic from Gothenburg. They formed in 1978. They have a vast catalog, but for me, the first three sevens, it's their shining moment, in my opinion. This is the second, and the third, Attentat. This is fantastic, amazing. This is just like, if you like the Cortinas, the Stukas, yeah, amazing, catchy, rock and roll-ish, with that Swedish anger to the mix. Absolute classic. Attentat. Highly recommended. Now, from Mariestad, 1978, the band that invented California 90s melodic hardcore. This came out in 1985 on Rosaring Records, and this is the amazing Astakask. Med is Imagen. They're often referred as the founders of the Tralla punk sound, which is described as skate punk. You listen to this and you'll be blown away how ahead of their time they were. As I said, these guys were 10 years ahead of what happened in Southern California during the 90s. This is just melodic, fast, anthemic, sing-along, beautifully played. This is a banger. And there's a cover band from Germany, Rastaknast, which is a band that covers Astakask. So if you have a band from other country cover your material, you must be doing something right. A classic here. Another classic from 1977 from Ag Sapre on Polydor, 1979, Road Kids Save Society. I've showed this multiple times. What to say about this is like perfection of 77 punk, rock and roll, pop rock infused, but tapping on the early stages of hardcore. This is a classic. Absolute ruler, well-known song. Ragar is a bunch of motherfuckers, yeah. A song about jocks and Pontiacs and Corvettes and whatever, being complete pricks, and the punks having to deal with it. Fantastic. Band from Norberg, their first single, Will Survive, an absolute classic from 85 on Opera Records. This is a comp that compiles the single plus the tracks from the Vikings Are Coming comp, which is a legendary comp. Their demo tape. This is a classic, trashy, anti-fascist, crust punk. Yeah, crust punk might have started right here. Sweden again, out of the gates, coming with a sound that shaped punk rock. Fantastic. One of my favorite records, Helsingborg, 1981. This record came out in 1984 on X Records and is their second single, Existence. Let's Get Drunk Before It's Too Late. This is like UK 82. Like straightforward UK 82 punk. They sing in English for the most part. It's a banger. This is a comp on Uptown Records, a reissue on, they had a couple tracks more. This is absolutely banger. As you can tell, when a band look cool, they usually tend to be good. Not all the time, but usually. Classic. Classics, 1978 from Gavle. PF Commando. What a band. Manipulate Mon Gone. This is kind of like Stooges meets Radio Birdman with that Sex Pistols nihilistic approach. This is classic. Gotta check it out. Fantastic record. Love this record. probably one of my favorites, or if not my favorite, early Swedish punk rock. This is 77 UK punk influence. These guys from Stockholm, 1978, and they delivered this banger of a record, Beach Boys debut. This is amazing, fantastic. Check it out. Another band that is fantastic from 1978 from Gothenburg, and this is just like amped up teenage rock and roll, anthemic, pissed off 77 style punk. First two singles by Glow. What a band. These guys were 15 years old. 15. You listen to this, any of this, and you'll be blown away. 15 teenagers kicking ass for the working class. Fantastic band. Glow. And this came out on Rekla. I don't know, never mind, I'm not gonna try. Another band that tagged along, they have a vast discography as well. And this is they are from Kopping, from 1983. This is another Tralla punk band, Tralla, whatever the skate punk thing. This is Karta 77. This is just like politically charged lyricism. They do experiment with reggae and ska at times, but this is a classic. This is a banger. Love this record. Highly recommend Karta 77. A band that I became familiar recently, within the last 2 years maybe. Never heard of these guys, but they're from Alven Mantorp from 1978. Von Gam. This is great. This is a comp. Came out in 2018. This is great. This is like snotty, garagey 77 punk. And interesting fact about these guys, they build all their gear. They build all their amps, everything. It's pretty cool. If you like early raw 77 punk, check it out. Check Von Gam. They have like a couple singles which are featured here. It's great. I recommend this one as well. A record that I've showed many times, but I have to show it again. 1980, with members of Anti-Semics, Perukers, Driller Killer, Trash, Speed Metal, Punk, Heroes, Black Uniforms, Splatter Punks on Acid. An absolute banger right here. Yeah, this is fantastic, and it does compile. In this record, there is my favorite material by which is the split cassette with Moderata Liquidation. I don't know how I say it in Swedish, but I think it's pretty close to that. Let me turn the record around. And talking about those guys, let's talk about them. 1980 from Malmo. Hardcore at its finest and sing along. Moderat Liquidation. I don't know. My bad. This is fantastic. As I said, classic band, legendary status for them. These are issues on Havoc Records with different cover art, Nitad, pretty well known. This is great. As I said, it's like perfect hardcore, sing along, politically charged. Fantastic. And a record on the same vein from Grom's 1982. But these guys, they do embrace early hardcore, like Antidote, sounding hardcore, but they do mix hardcore but with a narco punk vocal delivery style. Absolutely love this record. This is Eater, which stands for Ernest and the Edsolm Rebels. Doomsday Troops. Absolute classic banger. Check it out. You will not regret it. This is fantastic. Another fantastic band from 1978 coming from Falun. This is just like UK 77, you know, upbeat, snottish, pogo punkish, classic. Penny Sarna, this is amazing. There's a cover here, a song here called Plastic that is about Plastic Bertrand being a sold out. I think that curiosity alone, it's you know, enough to get you interested to at least give it a shot. Classic, Penny Sarna, love these guys. And a record that I think is phenomenal, and I still have that cassette that I got as a teenager. Bristol's Band the Punk Shops. When this was released, I was like, fuck, because I had the cassette, and the cassette sounds really rough. But the work that was done here to revitalize this classic, they're from 1982 from Landskrona. It's amazing. This is angry, raw, anthemic, GBH exploited, stylish punk. By this reissue of this classic release, you'll be blown away. Fantastic. I know I'm talking too fast, but I think I think I'm running out of storage and I want to get this done. So yeah, so these are some of my favorite Swedish bands. I didn't mention well-known acts such as Turbo Negro, Refused, Millencolin, No Fun at All, Helicopters, because what could I add to that? Those bands, you know, they're well-known worldwide. The Hives, there's so many, you know, fantastic. Sweden, yeah, they can fabricate hit makers, but their passion for the punk scene, it's well known. They know their shit, and they're doing it great, and they do it on their own style. So just a couple more records that I'm going to show, and a couple mentions. I'm not showing any Swedish street punk today because I'm going to do a video about it. Sweden helped revitalize and carry on Swedish street punk and oi from the 90s till now. Some of the best street punk bands and oi bands from the 90s and the 2000s came out of Sweden, but we'll get there another day. A band that I got to mention from the early 80s, which is a star cast. It's like D-Beat, crust at its finest, is Driller Killer. I have this picture disc of Total Fucking Hate. This is a banger. You need to listen to this if you like aggressive, fast, well-played punk rock classic. And a band from the early 2000s from Umea that I love, and I couldn't leave them out of this video because they're great. For me, it was the best early US hardcore revival band that I have a recollection, and they are the Regulations. Any of these? Money in the bank. Thank you for your time. I hope this doesn't come across too sloppy. Yeah, this is what I have for you. I think this is a great list for the ones that are not familiar with Swedish punk to dive into it. Wish you all a great week, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. Next week, I'm taking a break. You guys take care. Cheers.